So today I'm going to be doing one question in 3 ways, and I'm going to explain why doing it the first way is the mistake most people make on this question. Even though they get it right, it's a mistake that slows them down. And then I'm going to do it a second way, which I think is slightly better than the first way, and then I'm going to do it a third way using Desmos, which I think is the best way. And all 3 ways are good to know to understand the math behind it, but you want to know how to do the third way to be fast and be accurate. All right, so here it is. Which of the following expressions are a factor of 6x squared plus 5x minus 6? And we have 2x plus 3, 3x plus 2, and then we have A, 1 only, B, 2 only, C, both, or D, neither. Okay. One way that people would think about it is the classic way, or you try to factor, and you could do it by factoring or you do quadratic equation. So I'm going to do factoring here by doing earmuffs method. I multiply 6 by negative 6 and I get negative 36, okay? And then I'm going to have a 6x squared. What multiplies to negative 36 and has a difference of 5? It would be, anyone? It's not 6 and 6, right? Because that has a difference of 0. And it is not 12 and 3. It's going to be 9 and 4. So it's going to be 6x squared plus 9x minus 4x minus 6. Then I factor out the 3x here, and I get 2x plus 3. And then I factor out the negative 2 here, and I get 2x plus 3. And then my factors will be 2x plus 3, 3x minus 2. Okay, and then you would look and say, okay, 2x plus 3 is an option, so 1 works, but 3x minus 2 is the other, so 2 does not work. And then we would eliminate everything and we would just get A. And that's a totally good option, it's fine, but the mistake is you're doing it too long. I'm pretty good at this method of earmuffs, so I was pretty fast. Most people aren't that fast, and even with tricky numbers, I would start getting slower and slower, and I could make more mistakes and it could throw me off. So that is not an ideal way to do it. What you could do is the second method, and the second method is okay, but I think the third method with Desmos is the best one. But what you could do is you could take 2x plus 3 and then do 3x plus 2 and FOIL those and see if they get you the value. If they do, then you would say the answer is both. If they don't, then you know that it's at least not that. So this would be 6x squared plus 9x plus 4x plus 6. Now it get me 6x squared plus 13x plus 6. If you had noticed that they were all positives and there's no way to get a negative, you wouldn't even have to do it. You know it wouldn't work. So that doesn't work. And then you could see, okay, 6x squared plus 13x plus 6 doesn't work. But maybe one of these factors on their own works. So we could do 2x plus 3. Now, what multiplies 2x plus 3 times to get 6x squared? I'm going to do 3x. And then to get negative 6, I'm going to do minus 2. So I'm using one of the answer choices, in this case, the first one, and seeing if this will work. So I'm going to get 6x squared plus 9x minus 4x minus 6. That gets me 6x squared plus 5x minus 6, and that totally works, right? That's the answer, so we get A again. So that way is better because we're using the data they give us to help us guide our thinking, and we're not just out in the open, right? The answer choices help us here. And it simplifies things. We don't have to use the earmuffs method, which a lot of people aren't comfortable with. All right, so now let's do the last method, which I think is my favorite method, and it's using Desmos. Now, the reason I'm doing all methods is because the first method is like the best way in a certain context, right? If you had no answer choices and if you had like variables, maybe that's the best way because you can't use Desmos and you can't do it this way. So it's good to know. But a big part of the SAT is looking at a question and being like, I can do this in multiple ways and knowing which way to choose. So that's what I'm trying to teach you here. Not just how to do this question, but how to choose which way to do the question. So what makes this so great is that there's no variables. So we can just graph it straight up and get plus 5x minus 6. And we get this, and we get negative 1.5 and 0.667. So that means, what would these two be as solutions, right? If we said 2x plus 3 equal to 0, we get 2x equals negative 3. x equals negative 1.5. So since that's the same solution as the negative 1.5 here, that one works. So 2x plus 3 works. And then we do the other one, which we already know doesn't work, but I'll show you why here. 3x equals negative 2x equals negative 2/3. So again, that one doesn't work because our other solution was positive 2/3 here. And again, we get A. So all three methods get us the right answer, and they're all good to know. Especially the first one, you do need to understand the concept of factoring that way. And you could also use quadratic equation, but quadratic equation creates its own issues of just like, there's a lot of numbers and mistakes there. So that's a fourth way that I didn't do here, and I think most people avoid. But the best way, bar none, is this one. Using Desmos to graph and then using the values to find the solutions. That will work perfectly in this one, and you need to be able to identify it. So I hope you found this video helpful, and if you have any questions on it, let me know. I'll be doing more videos like always. I did a video of predicting the December test. You could see that up here. And I did a video going over the November questions. You could see that up here as well. So I hope you're having a good November, and I hope it's sunny where you are, but if it's raining, I hope the rain is cleaning your windows and watering your plants. Bye.